While some jaded MMORPG gamers still claim that the genre is dead, more and more MMOs are being developed, both by small indie studios and by large AAA developers. Some games are being made to cater to the nostalgic old-school MMO players, while others push the boundaries of the MMO genre in new and exciting ways. In this video, we will take a look at 11 of the biggest MMOs that are scheduled to release in 2023 or later. Ashes of Creation is a highly anticipated MMO by Intrepid Studios, which promises to offer players a truly dynamic world that is constantly evolving based on player actions. The game will be made in Unreal Engine 5, and in addition to having beautiful graphics, the game will also feature a huge open world to explore both at land and at sea, 9 playable races, 64 possible class combinations, and a dynamic evolving world that the players can impact in a major way. Alpha 1 for AOC finished last year, and the team at Intrepid Studios is now preparing for Alpha 2, so while the game won't be released next year, we're at least going to get the next phase of Alpha soon. Corepunk is an isometric cyberpunk MMO that is inspired by ARPGs, strategy games, and MOBAs. It even has Fog of War, a feature rarely seen in MMOs, along with a very distinct and vibrant art style. News has been sparse lately from Artificial Core, the developers of Corepunk, but they did confirm last month that the game was on track to start beta testing this year or at least sometime early next year. Chrono Odyssey was first announced back in 2020 by South Korean studio Pixel. The company later dropped a trailer for the title and announced that Chrono Odyssey would go into testing in 2021, with release in 2022. It was also stated that the game would release for console as well as PC and that it would be crossplay. Not much has been heard from the studio since then regarding the game, but hopefully, we get some news soon. Into the Echo was announced back in April of 2021 by developer Etlock Studios. It is yet another MMO that will utilize Unreal Engine 5 and feature next-gen graphics. The developers have been rather tight-lipped on the title, only releasing a short teaser and stating that the game will feature time travel, labeling itself as a massively multiplayer time travel odyssey. It will be released on PC and console. Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen is another highly anticipated MMO that promises a challenging, group-oriented adventure and classic MMO gameplay mechanics. The game has been inspired by old-school classics such as EverQuest, and it will aim to recapture the sense of community, danger, and mystery that these games are known for. Pantheon is being developed by Visionary Realms, a studio founded by many MMO veterans who have worked on MMO titles such as EverQuest and Vanguard, Saga of Heroes. Pantheon is currently in alpha testing, and no release date has been announced yet, but we are crossing our fingers for big things to happen in Pantheon next year. Throne and Liberty is a new MMO from NCSoft, the company behind games such as Ion, Blade, and Soul, and Lineage 1 and 2. If we count their subsidiaries, we can add City of Heroes, WildStar, and Guild Wars 1 and 2 to that list. Throne and Liberty was originally going to be a new game in the Lineage series, but the developers eventually decided it would be best to set the game in a whole new IP. It was originally set to be released this year, but the release was pushed back to 2023. Palia is not like other MMOs in the sense that it is not about combat and killing monsters. Palia's gameplay is centered around all the little things that are secondary in other MMOs, things like building a house, fishing, exploring, farming, and crafting. Palia calls itself a cozy MMO and a community sim, and from the looks of it, it will be very relaxing to play. We don't have a release date for Palia yet, but Alpha 2 was just finished, so we are hoping for at least some news on the beta next year. Bellatores aka Project N1 is yet another fantasy MMORPG from Korea, developed by New, a company mostly known for mobile games. At this point, alarm bells might be going off, but the developer has stated that they do not wish to make an MMO for mobile gamers, but instead a PC game that can compete with Black Desert Online. The game will be developed in Unreal Engine 5. ArcheAge 2 is a follow-up MMO to the popular original that was released back in 2014. Not much info has been released on the sequel, but we do know that the game will return to its roots as a sandbox MMO, with extensive player housing and sailing being among the key features. We also note that it will be developed in Unreal Engine 5, and is set 2,000 years before the original game. The Riot MMO will be set in the same setting as League of Legends and Legends of Runeterra, meaning it already has a huge amount of fans waiting for the game to launch. In fact, Legends of Runeterra has been a big part of fleshing out the world to prepare for the MMO. Not much is known about the MMO yet, except that Riot has hired a lot of talent with previous MMO experience to work on the title. Soulframe is a fantasy MMO that was just recently announced by Digital Extremes, the studio behind the hugely popular Warframe. Many of the developers that worked on Warframe will also develop Soulframe, which will be a free-to-play action hybrid MMORPG set in a fantasy setting. Soulframe is still very early in development, so the release is probably still a few years away. That was all the biggest 11 MMOs currently on the horizon. There are of course tons of other projects to look forward to, like City of Titans, Mad World, and Profane, amongst others, which we will cover in future articles and videos on MMORPG.gg. So remember to subscribe for more MMO news.